Today we're going to talk about phishing prevention with Huntress Managed SAT. So when you think of phishing prevention, it typically includes phishing scenarios as well as simulated phishing campaigns. These are a great tool for security awareness, but they're not meant to be a gotcha or to make users feel bad for clicking on something that they didn't realize was a phish. What they are meant to do is to expose the user to the types of tradecraft that they could be targeted with today, building their vigilance and keeping them sharp, while also giving you the ability to identify any risky behaviors and clicks in a controlled environment before they actually happen in the real world. Right now, we're looking at the Huntress dashboard. Let's dive into it. First, we're going to go to the library. Then we're going to navigate to the phishing scenarios. This is where you'll be able to see all of the phishing scenarios within the Huntress Managed SAT platform. These are all built by our team of security experts who work with the Huntress SOC, so getting data from the millions of endpoints and identities that we manage on a daily basis, and using that data from the threats targeting businesses every day to build phishing scenarios that are highly accurate and tailored to the tradecraft that reflects the threat landscape of today. And so this covers 7 different geographies currently, covers a variety of different types of tradecraft, including things like ClickFix, deepfake phishing scenarios, consent fix, QR codes, things of that nature, as well as, regular click and capture credentials types of scenarios. So let's get into what some of these look like. Okay, so here I have a test email set up in my inbox, and this is what it's going to look like for a user when they receive this type of email. So say I am a end user, I'm a teacher, I'm a dentist, I am a accountant. Anyone could get this email, and maybe they happen to have gone to the doctor last week or 2 months ago, who knows. They see this and they think, oh, I have a statement. So they click open statement, and this is going to bring them through what we call a ClickFix attack. ClickFix is particularly nasty because it's made up over 50% of all malware loader activity in the past year. So this is widespread. It's becoming more common, and people are falling for it because it's very tricky. So what it looks like is they click this button, says verify I'm a human. Doesn't look very suspicious at all, but what they actually just did is copied malicious code to their clipboard. Now, once this verification, quote unquote, goes through, it's going to bring up these steps. Now, a technical person's probably going to see this and be like, oh God, don't go through with this. But a non-technical person has no idea what this means. They're just trying to look at their statement from their insurance company. So they're going to go through with it. So they follow the steps, and I'm going to show you what that looks like right now. So command space return. Okay, type in terminal like it says. Going to go there. I'm going to hit Command V. What I've actually just done is pasted that malicious code to my clipboard. And now when I hit enter, it is going to run that malicious code. And in the real world, this is going to do something like install an info stealer. So something malicious. But with one of our phishing scenarios, they'll actually be greeted by our phishing defense coaching. As you can see there with the green check, learners will now be shown awesome recovery training. So instead of seeing this screen, they will see phishing defense coaching. And so I'm going to show you what that looks like. So we can go over here. This is the back end preview of what that phishing scenario looks like. So you can do this with any scenario in that library. You can go here and preview what the phishing defense coaching looks like. Again, it's going to pop open immediately when they take that action with the actual scenario in their inbox. So they're greeted by their coach. This is Truman. It looks like a cartoon, but it's actually a flesh and blood person. He's one of our researchers, and he built this phishing scenario. And now he's going to coach the user through what he was counting on for them to actually click. So he says, hey, you're almost phished. Don't worry, I'm here to help. Let's walk through what just happened. First off, we're going to ask them to reflect on why they clicked. This is going to get them to think on what actually motivated them and caused them to click, and what they need to think about next time as they look at their inbox, and make sure that they don't do that again. So it felt urgent and it seemed important. Those seem like good reasons. Okay, now we're going to address those specifically. So you thought it was urgent. Well, hackers are counting on that. And importance can be misleading. It may not actually be legitimate. Now we're going to give a little knowledge check, make sure that they're actually reading it, make sure that they are actually retaining and understanding this information. So what should you do when an email seems important? Verify the source of authenticity. Immediately comply? No, probably not. Act right away? No, I don't think so. But ask a supervisor or the appropriate department if this is legitimate. Yes, you should do that. So congrats. You found them all. And now let's get into the actual email you clicked on. So this, if you remember, was the same email I interacted with in my inbox. And it's going to point out the specific things I could have looked for to avoid this from happening again in the future. So looking at the sender email address, previewing links before you decide whether to click, noticing the relevance. Is this even the insurance company that you use? And With this specific one, again, this is a ClickFix email, suspicious CAPTCHA instructions. Usually when you get a CAPTCHA, it asks you to look for the motorcycles. Does this look like it's asking you for motorcycles? No, this is a little bit more extreme. This is interesting and unusual. Maybe this is not legit. Let's think twice and close out of that. Once they've gone through the phishing defense coaching, we ask them to identify how prepared they feel to identify a future phishing attack. People in the 4 and 5s are probably good. They're confident. They've learned something. People in the 1 to 3 range, though, these are people who we call hand raisers. This is someone who is saying, hey, I just clicked on a link and I still don't feel comfortable or confident. I need more help. So now you can target your higher risk users with additional training in a much easier way. That is phishing defense coaching. And so now I'm just going to take you back to the library to look at a few different scenarios that we have that I want to highlight. So first off, we just looked at the ClickFix scenario. We also have things like QR codes. So this is where we get them to scan a QR code on the landing page. We also have fake meeting scenarios. This is where the user actually clicks on what looks like a legitimate meeting invite and it brings them to a landing page where it looks like they're actually joining a call. The person on the other end is a deep fake person, and it's going to get them to actually download a malicious driver. And one in particular I wanted to highlight is this Google Drive scenario right here. The ones that I just showed you are all emerging tradecraft, things that we're actually seeing in the wild that are new. But this is one that's not so new. It's just hyper relevant and something that people are actually interested in. And this has actually been our most successful phishing scenario in terms of click to compromise rate to date. So this had a 65% click to compromise rate, and that was across hundreds of thousands of users who received this email and compromised tens of thousands of people. So this just goes to show that there is a lot of risk with phishing, and people are still likely to click on phishing scenarios. And that's why it's so important to have simulated phishing campaigns and coaching sessions on those times where people do actually click. Our typical phishing scenario compromise rate ranges in the 20 to 30%. But as you can see with emails like that, they can go much higher. So it's really important that you have this training in place. And now, how do you actually assign it? So there are two different ways that you can go about this. You can go to our phishing tab right here. And the first one is what we recommend. This is our managed phishing program. And with this, you get fully managed training sent out on a monthly basis. And this is managed by Truman and his team, our researchers, who are, again, looking at the data from our SOC, looking at the trends out there, and each month sending out phishing scenarios that are relevant to what is targeting people today. So this isn't something you set at the beginning of the year and forget about it until next year. This isn't some randomized automated phishing campaign. This is actively managed by people who know what's going on in the security landscape and making sure that they're sending out relevant scenarios to get those things in front of your users before they actually see the real thing. But if you'd like to have a little bit more control or even want to supplement that with more phishing scenarios, you're easily able to do that yourself under the phishing tab. You just go to this new campaign button, select the trainings you want, the audience you want to send to, the dates you want to send it, and you're golden. Takes just a few minutes. And that is managed phishing with Huntress Managed SAT. And I hope this helps you to lower your human risk and prevent phishing at your organization. Thanks.